Welcome to The Grand Balance, a bi-weekly podcast hosted by two working grandmas navigating the beautiful chaos of work and family. Hi, Sharon.
Hi, how are you? Welcome back.
Thank you.
How was the cruise?
Oh, it was great. For everyone out there, I just came back from an Alaskan cruise, and I'd always heard how amazing it was, and it really was. We got really lucky. The weather was amazing. All good.
Something I've always wanted to do. What cruise lines did you take?
We did Norwegian, which,
Nice.
yeah, we had done that before with some family over the holidays, and we love it. It's a great cruise ship, or cruise line, should I say.
I can't wait to talk to you about it later because I really want to hear more about it because I've always wanted to do it.
Yeah. So one of the things that we did, because Alaska's cold, so it's not like you're laying out at the pool, drinking the Mai Tais or anything.
All about the scenery from what I understand.
It's all about the scenery. So we did a little bit of a splurge, but it was the best thing we could have done. We rented the thermal spa suite for the whole week. So we could go into this suite, and it has lounging chairs, padded lounging chairs. It's on the top floor, so it's surrounded by windows, so we could just look at the scenery. We saw whales and dolphins and seals swimming around, and you could go into the hydrotherapy pool. They had steam rooms, saunas, a snow room.
That sounds really cool. I didn't even know that was such a thing. So did you have to make reservations each day as far as what time you went, or you just rolled in?
We did the full suite package for the whole week. So we didn't have to worry about if it was full or whatever, because they only allow 250 people to reserve this, from the whole cruise. And there was 5,000 people on the ship, so that you could get a seat. It was kind of a luxury a little bit.
Right. So I'm not understanding, I guess. Is it like a separate area that you're staying in, or is it something you walk into when you feel like it during the day?
You walk in when you feel like it during the day. So it's part of the spa. But, when you go in and you get a facial or whatever,
Right.
It's in that area, but it's private. It's like for the VIPs, I guess.
Yeah. Spa experience.
Yeah. And so, the hydrotherapy pool, you got the jets going on you all the time and stuff. It was beautiful, and it was calm, and I read 2 books in there.
No, it sounds amazing. I didn't know it was such a thing because I'd be all about that.
Yeah. And it wasn't cheap, but it was so worth it because as other people, they're trying to figure out, besides gambling and drinking a lot, which obviously you do anyway, when it's cold, and the weather was really nice and manageable, but
you're not laying in the sun.
Right. If you want to go out and read, you're bundled up,
Got it.
Whereas here we're in our, spa robes and, bathing suits, in the
that
spa.
Makes sense. It sounds like a perfect addition.
Yeah. The only thing was, so the segment that you started called Don't Get Me Started.
Oh, yes. Don't get me started, because I have another Don't Get Me Started too.
Okay. Well, I thought of you because in this thermal spa suite, everybody's reading books. They might have their AirPods on, listening to music or whatever. Everybody's just chilling and relaxing.
Environment, yes.
Looking at the snow-capped mountains and the glaciers, out of the windows. It was beautiful. There was a guy, he was on his phone so much with the speaker on.
Oh, you've got to
So
be kidding
everybody
me.
could listen to this guy in his conversation.
That nobody wanted to
And he was
listen to.
loud already by himself. And so
Sounds like one of those people.
yeah. So it made me think of you in your segment. So I thought it was funny.
Yeah. Well, my latest Don't Get Me Started is I need to have some work done. I'm planning a little baby sprinkle for the new little granddaughter. And so I need a little bit of work done in my backyard. I know the measurements. I have pictures. Why can't contractors just give you a price? It's a whole hullabaloo now to get a price.
Oh, I know.
Just give me a price.
You got to come out. Although, have you tried Thumbtack?
Okay, I just did for the first time because I was getting so frustrated with all the other companies I'd contacted, because either they want to make an appointment to come out, which half the time they don't show up. I also don't really want to take off time from work to do that so much. And so Thumbtack, I did look into. Pricing was pretty high, but I only looked at a couple different options.
Yeah, but at least they do that for you.
At least they give you a price. Exactly.
Actually, when my daughter got married, we got her DJ off Thumbtack because we had lots of different bids. And then I could look at their reviews. They had like sample music on there and stuff. That's how we got it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I hadn't really ever used it. And of coincidentally, now that you mention it, this is the first time because I started Googling how to get a contractor to get you a quote because
Yeah.
I just don't understand. You know the measurements, you know what it looks like. It's a pretty straightforward job. Like, at least give me a range. I
Yeah.
want you to come out and tell me it's thousands of dollars higher than I even can afford to spend.
Right. So instead of wasting everybody's time.
Exactly. So that's my don't get me started. Just give me at least a range.
Right. Agreed. All right. Oh, and the other thing, so because we have this grandma's podcast, I thought I would give a shout out to, her name's Denise. She's a working grandma. I met her in Alaska, and I just thought her story was kind of inspiring. So unfortunately, the last few years ago, she got divorced later in life after her kids were older. And she lives in Arizona, and she decided, look, I got to keep myself busy. I'm not going to let this divorce impact me. So she drives out to Alaska, Skagway, every summer, and she is like the tour guide and runs some part of the mush camp where they train the dog sleds for the big races like the Iditarod. So I did this tour, and it was amazing. All the little puppies, and then we got to see the dogs, and they pulled us around as part of their training. But she then has 2 sets of grandkids, and she splits time. So during the summer, she drives all the way out to Alaska, helps support these dog sledding camps, and then she goes to 2 different states and takes care of her grandkids the rest of the year. And I thought, that's cool, because if I don't think I'll ever fully retire, and that's neat to know that she's still working, but still has all the time dedicated to her grandkids too.
And doing things she's interested in as well.
Yeah.
It sounds cool. How old was she, do you think?
Probably in her late 60s.
Oh, nice.
Early 70s. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I thought, and she was just a cool gal. We sat at the front of the tour bus, so she was chatty with us. And then the other thing about the cruise, because working grandmas, we don't have a lot of time, and I have not been able to take time to read as much as I used to. And plus, we talked about it last time, I'm trying not to read in bed so that I can get more sleep. So now I'm not reading much. But on the cruise, I got to read 2 books. So one of the books was called The Personal Librarian. I would highly recommend it. It was a New York Times bestseller. And it was about a light-skinned African-American who had to pretend she was white because it took place in the early 1900s. And she was the librarian to J.P. Morgan. And for those that don't know who J.P. Morgan is, very, very famous, well-to-do family, way back then, owned a lot of businesses, helped the country get out of the recession way back when. And he merged with Chase Bank. Now it's just Chase. But anyway, long story short, this very hardworking woman ended up being like the top-ranked, world-renowned librarian who would go to other countries and buy amazing art and amazing books and manuscripts from like kings of the past, centuries and stuff like that. And she was very respected. And nobody ever found out that she actually was an African-American way back then, because she would have never had this opportunity.
Wow, I've never heard of that book, and it sounds interesting and something very different than what I've been reading. So
it's historical fiction, and I love historical fiction.
Yeah, I'm not so much, but that does sound interesting to me.
Yeah. And then the second book is the one that I keep telling everybody I'm going to eventually finish, and I did. It was called The Anxious Generation.
I did read it as well, too.
And this is the book that the author is a professor, and he studies sociology and impacts of society. And he's been on Joe Rogan. He's been on all these top podcasts. I've been wanting to read it for a while and haven't. But so now he's on here. Now we're talking about it here. And it's really just a sad and disturbing nonfiction book about what social media and safetyism, how we protect our kids so much, is actually hurting the kids and their ability to be successful in the future.
Yeah, it's after reading it, it just struck me, first of all, we talk about so much of this on our podcast, which I think is so important to get the awareness out. Just from reading the book alone, you would think we are doomed. It's dire straight. So I think it's good to bring the awareness, but also bringing the awareness gives everyone an opportunity to make the changes. And I think that's the best takeaway, because we can't just leave things status quo. It can't continue as it's been going on. And I do think younger people are more aware and are starting to see the effects. Like, look at our children, the way they're raising their children. I think they are aware. And I think as more awareness comes about, the better it will be, because this world has to adjust to the way things are now, but in a more positive way.
Right. So in summary, and I encourage you all to read it or just chat GPT, the book, and say, give me a big summary of it. There's just so many statistics in there and really just sad stories about how online social media, where kids are just doing stuff by themselves a lot.
Because parents are doing things by them. It's like a vicious cycle, really. One thing affects everything.
Right. And they were even saying it's not necessarily fully screen time. Like in the old days, we would watch TV, right? We were not immune. Right. But when we would watch TV, we would watch with other people. And so you had that social interaction. You had, talking about the show, or the family got together to watch a show together. But what's happening now is that too many kids are just on their phones, and even, you're right, even adults, where they're not interacting anymore with society. Yeah. That they think the online interaction is enough, but it's not that human contact or, human
and
communication.
And forth, right. You don't have the back and forth. You don't have, there's just so much of it. And like I said, I think hopefully change will come because people are now seeing the negative effects. There's always going to be negligent parents. There's always going to be bad parents. And I think social media accentuates that because they're just not going to be present, whether social media exists or not.
Yeah. So they were saying, in summary, there's 4 foundational harms of the social media aspect of this. One is social deprivation, which is what we're talking about.
Right.
We're not interacting like we used to. 2 is sleep deprivation,
which we've talked about ad nauseum. But
yeah, because kids even adults,
sleep, we need sleep. Sleep is such an important factor in everyone's health. And I think, I feel like we've always known that, but now it's just becoming more to the forefront when people are talking about it.
Right. And especially with kids and their growing brains, right? Because they don't have full frontal cortex, development until their mid-20s, I think it was.
I think it is too.
Yeah. And that's the place in the brain that tells them, right from wrong, keep doing things, making decisions, all of that. And without that sleep, it doesn't develop appropriately. And then also kids we've talked about it before, at night, they just can't put their phones down. And adults have the same issue.
Or they put their phones down and they're not silenced and they're continually waking up throughout the night with alerts.
Which is the next issue, which was attention fragmentation. So kids are so used to having that pull to them from their phones, they can't focus and pay attention for longer periods of time. And one of the things we've been talking about is the phones in school, and how I think on one of our last recent episodes, we talked about there's going to be this law in California.
Right, which I have seen the effects of that. It's all over, and they have made all the new rules.
Yeah, but remember you were asking, are they going to take them away just in the class or at recess? In this book, how it was talking about how even if you take it away just in the class, halfway through the class, they're already thinking about, ooh, I can't wait to see, their bodies are telling them, crave the phone, so that, because they know they're going to get it in between class. So then they can't still focus on what's happening in the class.
Yeah, the whole thing is crazy. The way California's done it is lower than high school can't have their phones from the time they go into school until the time they leave school.
Yeah.
High school is allowed to have it during passing periods and lunch periods. So, I mean, it's a step in the right direction. Again, at least the awareness is out there and changes are being made to meet the technology of today.
Yeah. And then the 4th, so we had social deprivation, sleep deprivation, attention fragmentation, and then the 4th is addiction. And what I was shocked with was they have, you have addiction treatment centers for drugs, alcohol, gambling, all that stuff. They have them now for digital use. And it's like, wow, we've gotten to this point because it's like a drug. It's like, and they say it is similar to gambling. You're not putting chemicals in your body.
It's like the dopamine
but it's
rush,
the dopamine rush.
Right.
Like gambling. So it's a sad state when we've got digital use treatment centers or digital addiction treatment centers. It's like, whoa.
It's a sad state, but at the same time, a positive move that things are being looked at and hopefully changed.
Yeah. So I'm really hopeful. I mean, they had good recommendations in here, and it was just, so that was half of it, which was the social media side or the online use side. And then the second was the safetyism and free play. Like, let your kids play more by them, with other kids, with older kids, because that's how they learn. Don't be so afraid. And we've talked about this before. We used to do things a lot more than we let our kids do.
Yeah, we ran the neighborhood from sun up until sundown.
And I get it. Maybe in some communities, there's reasons you may not want to do that, but you've got to be able to let your kids try more things on their own, because now what they're saying is older kids are afraid to try anything because they're afraid, because their parents have made them afraid.
And they're afraid to fail, which is such an important lesson. We have to learn, or for sure, our children have to learn how to fail and how to pick themselves up.
Yeah.
Because then you recreate the resilience that is lacking now.
Yeah. And even, so it was funny, I was talking to my sister-in-law the other night. We were just talking about something, and she said, "Oh, I'm so nervous. I'm so stressed because my daughter, who's 18 and a graduate of high school, is down in Cabo San Lucas with her friends. I don't know if I should have let her go. I'm so worried. I shouldn't have done it." And after reading this book, I was like, nope, that was the best thing you could do, because she's been there before with you multiple times. She'll know what to do. You've got to give her that freedom. We cannot hold our kids so tight.
No, it's true. It's hard, but true.
And God forbid anything bad happened to her. But I think it's the right thing for parents to just let them go. And for little ones, it's like, let them go around the corner in your house. If they accidentally do something, it's okay. But you've got to give them that little bit of freedom.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's interesting tips for sure. I'm hoping the bottom line is, as the awareness comes, more changes come, and it just creates a more positive environment for all the next generation.
Well, and because he's on all the podcasts, the big ones, it seems to be there's a movement, from this book, and I'm really hoping that it sticks.
I agree. This kind of reminds me of a quote. I'm sure you probably weren't listening to the New Heights podcast with Taylor Swift's new album release that was watched by millions. I
was not, and I'm not a Swiftie, but I'm kind of curious. Like, I might watch it just for that.
I did. I listen to New Heights anyway, because I'm I came for football first, but I am a newer Swiftie, kind of. But what really struck me, and this deals with social media, and it deals just with, I feel like, topics we've talked about, aging, where we pick and choose who we want to spend our time with because our time is valuable. But her quote struck such a chord with me, and I think it's such a valuable thing. They were talking to her about how she doesn't let social media affect her life or her relationship. And this was her quote: "You should think of your energy as if it's expensive, as if it's a luxury item," Swift said. "Not everyone can afford it. Not everyone has invested in you in order to be able to have the capital for you to care about this. What you spend your energy on, that's the day." And I thought that was very prolific. It's just telling you, you make your day, so you choose what to pay attention to, what not to, what to let affect your mood. And I thought that was such great advice in general for everyone, because social media shouldn't dictate how you feel about yourself or your life.
Totally agree. But Taylor Swift is an adult, and so she's mature enough to figure that out, whereas younger kids are having a harder time. And let's face it, and I hate to be the negative Nelly here, but in this book, it said girls are impacted way more than boys, because girls are more affected by social and communication and being left out, and, like mean girl syndrome, right?
And they probably worry more about their appearance and how they're
exactly
affected. I think that's true. But the fact that this kind of message is getting out, I think, especially from someone like Taylor Swift.
Yeah, hopefully she can influence it. Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was very meaningful and something really, if you think about it, we should all practice. We need to be responsible for how we feel.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I wish she would have said it a little more simply, because that was a really long way to say it. If she could just say, girls, stop caring, listen to me as Taylor Swift. I'm your idol. Just listen to me.
Well, she was talking to adults, I think,
I know,
in the podcast. But yes, expend your energy on things that really matter.
Right.
And don't waste it on things that don't, or people you don't know.
That's right.
So
Totally
we'll
agree.
we'll make it a succinct thing.
Yeah. We'll get off the topic of the anxious generation. But similarly, I was watching the news last night at dinner, and there was an episode on the news about how the sandwich generation, so that's folks that have kids / grandkids that they support or take care of, plus their own parents. So that's all of us.
I was going to say, yeah, basically our generation,
Yeah,
right?
our generation, especially I consider us younger grandparents, that we are stressing ourselves out partly because of the scams and everything that's impacting our parents or impacting our kids. So it's like that everything that's happening online, we have to worry about too, not only for our kids, but for our elderlies that are getting scammed.
Well, I think that's what's hard for our generation is we weren't raised with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all new. So we have to be vigilant in all areas. And we're not that comfortable with it, with the technology that comes with it, I guess.
Right. But we're the ones that are trying to take care of everybody. And so we have to get more educated, I guess, and make sure that, I had to do this not too long ago with my parents. I went to their house. They both got new phones and there's like, nothing's working. Can you help me fix it? And I saw that they didn't put back on all the safety measures that I had on their phone before. They're getting emails of things that if they swipe, they're going to get hacked and stuff. So.
Well, it might be helpful for our listeners. What type of safety measures? Are there specific apps that you put on their phones, or what do you mean as far as safety measures?
So there are tools that you can buy, that make sure that websites that they want to go to, that these companies will check the websites. I think on one of our episodes,
the
cybersecurity one, Carrie Weissall mentioned a few of the tools.
Okay.
But I put on Norton or McAfee are the two big ones,
right,
that are like safety, that they'll make sure that they check all your websites. They make sure that they'll send you alerts if your passwords are somewhere out on the dark web. They'll do all that kind of stuff. And so it's really important that they have that. I know I have a family member who was a senior, and she almost got scammed. She believed the person on the phone. She went to the bank to withdraw the money.
Oh my.
And she was very lucky that the bank has been very protective of that. And they were questioning it. And the woman got so frustrated that she called her daughter, and her daughter was like, what's going on? And her daughter found out that she was falling for a scam.
Wow, that was lucky. And kudos to the bank.
Yeah, that happened with me. I actually had a legitimate request to pull money out to make an investment, and they had to check 5 different times with me. And I had to prove that this was a legit company I was sending the money to and stuff.
Wow, impressive. I think they're doing it probably to cover their butts, but good that they're doing it.
Yeah. So thank goodness, this was a bigger bank, so maybe they're a little better. But it also happened to my neighbor down the street, who was not so lucky, and she did lose $25,000.
I know you hear those stories and it's heartbreaking. They're all over the news all the time. And same thing, we just need to bring awareness. So these corrupt criminals, which most of them I'm sure they're probably bots overseas or I don't know what, but just so our seniors become educated. I think the schools do a good job of educating the younger generation.
You know what? I'm shocked, to be honest, that my kids haven't been hacked yet or anything. As much as they're just like all over everything, I'm surprised that they're not. And I don't think they have these protections on their phone. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but I think they definitely grew up in a generation. They're almost like in the in-between generation with that technology, but they were raised somewhat with it.
Yeah. So I do think we are going to have a separate episode coming up soon on the sandwich generation, because there's just so much to talk about of some of the things that we have to do to balance.
I was going to say, and it affects so many of us.
Yeah. And financially, emotionally, and physically, it's impacting us just because we have all of that to do, plus working.
Right.
So
getting pulled from all directions, it's a balancing act.
That's right.
Grand balance.
So besides the sandwich generation episode, what else is up?
Well, I'm super excited about a guest we're having come on. I think it'll be our next episode, but It's a skin care specialist. And I'm so excited because not only will we be able to discuss how to take care of our aging skin and try to keep it as youthful and nice as possible, but also all the different things affecting our grandchildren's, all the things getting thrown out with them with social media, which kind of ties into what we spoke about today. These little girls are getting inundated by things they have to have, and a lot of it can be very damaging to their skin. So I think it'll be a really interesting episode, and we'll kind of cover all the ages of skincare.
Oh, I love that. I know I waited way too late to start taking care of my skin.
Me too. And I feel like my daughter is so lucky because she started so early. And I think these girls just have so much more information.
Right.
They weren't laying at the beach with baby oil all over them.
I know. I know. Well, okay. That sounds great. I can't wait for that one. I am sure I have a lot to learn there. Or hopefully they can help me at my late stage of life.
No, I'm both so excited about this. So that is coming up.
Okay. So we have a lot to talk about coming up. Hope you all join us soon.
Please tune in and thanks for listening. Have
Bye-bye.
a great day. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe to the podcast so we can continue to grow our community. Also follow us on Instagram at Working Grandmas Podcast, on Facebook at The Grand Balance, a Working Grandmas Podcast, and join our LinkedIn group, Working Grandmas. You can also email us at info@workinggrandmas.com or message us through any of our social media platforms.